Have you ever seen that? There's a picture where Michael Phelps is he's swimming, he's doing his dolphin thing, and then there's this other, and he's way ahead of some other dude, and the other dude, no, he's catching up to another dude or something like that. But the other dude is looking at him, like he's more focused on him than his own lane, right?
Yeah.
And what happens? Like he's focused on that, loses speed, and then Phelps passes him. Like that shit happens all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
If we lose track of our own speed, the stuff that matters to us, right? Our own focus, it's easy to get contaminated by all the noise around us that's going on. Fam, what's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another amazing episode of the Monday Mindset series with my co-host, Justin Thorstad.
I like it. You went a totally different direction.
Bro.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Very, very
fresh.
Very fresh. You know what I did? I picked my own race.
Well, that's the race.
That's what I did. I mean, I figured I'm going to go in whatever direction I want because it's my race at the end of the day.
That's true. It's your barbecue. I'm just here to eat.
Well, Justin, that takes me to our topic of conversation today. These just keep getting stupider. Is that a word? Stupider?
Sure.
It should be.
Stupidest?
Yeah, stupidest. All right. So we have a topic, a very interesting topic going on right now, right? So Justin walks up to the office for the podcast and this morning, and we're kind of kicking back. I mean, we always like, hey, what's going on? The first thing that popped up, and I can't say it's my topic, okay? I was having a conversation yesterday, and it kindled the topic of running your own race. So this weekend, I'm going to give you some context. This weekend, I spent the weekend of the Baja 500 in Ensenada, Mexico, right? So it's a race, off-road race. It's gnarly. There's motocross. There's trophy trucks. It's a really cool, thing I've been going through the years, and I mean, it's amazing. Now I get to do it with my son. So my son was out there with me, and we had one of our good friends was running the race. He finished the race and everything. So the one of the things that kind of came up is like, man, the mindset, right? Like that you have to hold on for running 500 miles on a dirt bike. That's what he did. He ran it like big a shout out to my boy Quito Heredia. But this kid, man, like he was 12 years old, and he would go to the races and look at the bikes and do all that stuff. And he just ran his first 500. So it's 500 miles, bro. Like it's a lot of miles.
That's a lot on a
dirt bike. He ran 19 hours and 50 minutes, and all by himself. Like, dude, just one shot. It's crazy. To me, it's unbelievable. Like, loved it. So we go out there and we do pits and we help him out kind of like throughout the race, right? But the question or the thing was like, man, you have to like. There's points at any race where you just got to focus on not beating everybody around you, but focusing on your lane, right? Focusing on your race. And I'll use that as a context, I guess, for example. But I feel like we often get caught up as entrepreneurs. We often get caught up in running other people's races.
You know what? Yeah, that's actually bizarre. Just before I came here, I was having a conversation with one of my loan officers, and we were talking about that. In personal development, there's this exercise where you get on a motorcycle and you ride this course, and you have the experience you have that's unique to you, and it's right in alignment with this. So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But the synchronicities about the topic, and
okay.
Literally too. So.
Yeah, I thought there was like something.
I'll get there.
Heavier.
Yeah, it's coming.
Listen, I'm not gonna pressure you on your conversational race that you're having.
It's okay.
Right
outside influences don't bother me.
Okay, so are we done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that goes in line with my shirt too. So
Jesus Christ.
You want to see?
All right, moving on.
Have you ever read the back?
No. What is it?
I wear this shirt.
It's your shirt. It's not my shirt. Why would I read your shirt?
Here, look.
Fuck with the bull.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
And so what that means
Justin
is,
Thorstad.
in alignment with our topic,
Yeah.
it's like
It's a pretty cool shirt. Where's my shirt?
What size are you?
Medium.
Good. Okay. I'll have one for you next week.
That's how you do it, guys.
Or you can stop by my
Free
house on the way
stuff.
home, because we live close by to each other.
Yeah. No.
Even
Like,
though-
it's not the same. You have to.
You see what I'm dealing with?
Okay,
ladies and
so
gentlemen?
can we go back to the podcast?
So
Okay.
unfuckwithable, right?
Jesus Christ. Yes.
So run your own race. At the end of the day, in running your race, like who are you competing with, and what's your objective, what's your intention? Yeah. So being unfuckwithable as you run your own race is about not allowing outside influences, circumstances, situations, conditions, people to influence your state in a negative way.
Yeah.
Right. Because if something external can move you off of your center, off your game, then you're a victim to it. It holds the
Right.
power. You're powerless, right? So unfuckwithable really comes down to the only person that can fuck with you and get you off center is you.
Yeah.
And that's if you go unaware of yourself, like
Yeah.
asleep, unconscious, right? And allow the old programming to seep in. So that'll tie in nicely.
And I think it makes perfect sense, right, for the analogy. So whether it's an actual physical race or a mental race, at the end of the day, we're running towards something. We're all running towards an achievement. If it's launching your business, if it's putting out your next project, if it's finishing school, if it's an actual race, if it's getting better and physically, and there's always something, right, that's in there. And a lot of times I feel like, at least in me, in my experience, whenever I got the notion of a race, it always was all about speed, right? Like, okay, I'm racing towards something. It means I gotta go fast. Like, why? Because I'm trying to beat everybody around me. That's the race. But the more immature, very slowly.
I'm going to emphasize very slowly.
Painfully slowly. Painfully.
Wait,
slowly.
you've matured?
I realize that it's not just about the speed of things, right? We have to understand what race we're even running, man. I've been caught in the wrong race, at points in my life, and I lost a year, 2 years. Like, shit, this stuff is not even doesn't even matter to like my big picture. And not that it's it's been a waste of time. You get learning experiences and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if we focus on the race that we want to run and we focus on ourselves, right? There's nobody running against us. In the game of life, there is absolutely nobody running against us. We're not competing against anybody. I think that's one thing that's important to understand. Yeah, we want to create achievements, but once you start comparing yourself to other people and the results of somebody else. They say, right, comparison is the thief of joy. And I agree with that. I really do, because when we start placing our internal joy on exterior factors like that, we lose focus of where we want to go.
It's a trap.
We lose focus on how fast we want to get there. And we primarily lose focus on what matters on the way over there.
Exactly. So what I hear you say, and I'll just say it differently in my way, but it's saying the same thing. It's like the finish line is only part of the equation, right? It's a formality. You're going to get there if you don't quit, right? But let me ask you a question. If you've got your head down, nose to the grindstone, and you're grinding, and you get across the finish line, let me ask you a really important question. How was your experience?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you missed it. You missed all of it. The connections, the collaborations, the enjoyment of it all. Like, it's about the journey. I know that's kind of cliche, but it's so damn true. I mean, the older I get, the more experience I acquire, the more I realize, like, the fundamental truth in that. And it's beautiful. Like, what was the quality of your experience throughout the journey?
Right.
Like, that's the point. And if you're, nose down to the grindstone and not looking up to smell the roses, so to speak, like, you've missed it. And yeah, you arrive, but now what? Right? It's like, you're going to die. You're going to hit that finish line. That's formality. It's going to happen. End of story. So how's your experience along the way?
But you may also arrive to the wrong place.
Oh, 100%.
Dude, that's a very factual thing. How many people do? I mean, I can't tell
you,
man.
Miss the signs?
But how many? I can tell you how many conversations I've had with older people who have a lot more experience. And one of the things that intrigues me about the people who are way ahead of me in their race, right, it's like, would you do anything different? Would you, one of the questions that I do at the end of the CEO Pulse podcast is, if you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what advice would you give that kid, right? And I think that's a cornerstone question, because it gives you a level of reflection looking backwards from everything else. And I've gotten so many times the answer of understanding me, understanding, what I want, trusting more in myself. Like, it all points out to that self-reflection point that I think a lot of times goes undermined, and it's a very easy thing to do, to not see that for years and get in a race that's not your race, because you didn't design it, because you didn't sit down and thought about how fast you wanted to go, where you wanted to go, who you wanted to go with, what kind of vehicle did you want to take on that race, right? And or jump in a race, and then all you started doing was looking at the people around you. Like, have you ever seen that? There's a picture where Michael Phelps is he's swimming, he's doing his dolphin thing, and then there's this other, and he's way ahead of some other dude, and the other dude. No, he's catching up to another dude or something like that. But he's looking. The other dude is looking at him. Like, it's more focused on him than his own lane, right?
Yeah.
And what happens? Like, he's focused on that, loses speed, and then Phelps passes him. Like, that shit happens all day, every day, twice on Sunday. Yeah. If we lose track of our own speed, the stuff that matters to us, right? Our own focus, it's easy to get contaminated by all the noise around us that's going on. And that happened, man. I saw it happen in the race over the weekend, like the actual physical race at the Baja. But I see it in entrepreneurship all the time. So it's like, I was thinking, it's like, this is the perfect analogy. This is so similar to the kind of stuff that we run through, right?
Yes. Well, and I'll just speak from myself, like my own experience of me. And so my former personality used to be
your own experience of you.
Yeah. Speaking from
yours.
My experience of me.
Yours.
Yeah. In reflection.
Yes.
In retrospect.
Personal.
So,
individual.
Hindsight's always 20/20. Yeah. What the Anyways, so, my mentality back then was, there's only one winner, and second place is the first loser, and in order for me to win, you have to lose. Like, I wasn't even cognizant of this, right? But here's the fundamental flaw with that mentality, that bias lens, is that, okay, so you put your head down and you win, and everyone else loses, right? Okay, great. The quality of the experience was shit. I mean, it was so lacking. And the other thing was, there wasn't enough wins or plaques or trophies to ever feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like, it was so empty. It lasted for 15 minutes and it was gone, and you need another one that's bigger. And it's so exhausting. Whereas, short of an actual race, where the mentality of collaboration, like as an entrepreneur, your competition, let's say in the marketplace, like, what could you accomplish if you came together and collaborated on something? It'd have to be something that's even higher and better than you initially imagined in your race against everybody else for you to win and then to lose. Like, that's such a limited scope of what's available.
Yeah.
So, and I got to tell you, man, you said about it, a race is all about going fast, right? And it's like, I just remember I had this experience of riding a dirt bike in this personal development thing, and you're riding a dirt bike through this course, and there's no objective. I mean, at least they don't give you one, right? So you have your own experience. And obviously the experience that you create is familiar to you, because that's how you operate. Of course, you're going to do it unconsciously. And I had the awareness through that experience of, like, first gear, second gear, that was a little too slow. Like, it wasn't very stimulating. It wasn't a lot of fun. But fifth gear, man, that was too fast. Like, I'm going to crash and burn and, eat it, right? And I found, like, third gear was fast enough to keep me paying attention, stimulated, but I could still enjoy the scenery and so on and so forth. Yeah. I was like, it was such a good pace. And so when you talked about this as far as, the topic of the podcast, it was like, yeah, man, pace is so important. It's not just as fast as I can go. It's the quality of my experience with my pace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And since it's not there's no trophy at the finish line in this race as an entrepreneur, who do you want to bring with you?
We are the trophy. I mean,
yeah. So, and if you need the trophy in order to validate yourself, well, that in and of itself is flawed, and you might want to take a look at that, right? Because that's not what it's about.
I feel like we don't, at least in my race has mine has no endpoint. This weekend actually too, I had a really good conversation. Like they asked me, like, what's your end all be all? I was like, shit, I can't tell you.
Death.
They're like, no. What are your goals? Like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to achieve? Like, I honestly, I can't tell you, because everything is like, I can't tell you. I know what I want to do or build or create within the next 3 years, right? But it's not my end all be all. I know it's not
Totally.
going to be that. Why? Because that race is, that's I'm running. I feel really good. I mean, for maybe the last. I got into a gap there where I started, borrowing races and racing other people's races over the last maybe 3-4 years. But I got back into my groove, and I feel like the way that I go about it is okay, what's my highest and best? What's really in alignment? What's the kind of stuff that I can control in my atmosphere, my space, right? What's and more than control? What's the type of stuff that I can manage? I'm okay with, right? Like, what's the type of stuff that I want to have in that space? I can cut everything else out. Anything that gives me negative energy, anything that is just not in alignment with the type of life that I want to live, and the concerns that I don't want to have, right? I can void. I can delete.
Yeah, I get to stretch me in my own way, the way I want to, for my own development.
Yeah, and it really, like, you get into this space of empowerment, self-empowerment, really. And I think that's when we listen, when we're running our own race, man. I feel like it's a clear definition of our own personal power, right? Personal power meaning over our own, beingness. This is where we understand who we are at this point in time. That may change in 3 years. It may change in 5 years.
Likely will.
Right?
Yeah.
It will. But at this point in time, like, this is me. This is my lane. This is my race. And nothing outside of that, like, nothing can impact that, because I know I'm running my race. So you have, I mean, and I don't know, you name it. You have deals. You have opportunities. You have, whatever, right? And there's, like, outside influences that will come in and some, present themselves, grab your attention, shiny object and all that stuff. But if at the end of the day you're really settled on what your race is and the stuff that you're managing, like, this is my lane, this is what I'm focusing on, all the other stuff, even though it can become loud, you go back to your lane, you go back to your race. Like, this is the pace that I'm running at, and I know this is my comfortable moving speed, and I get to enjoy life. I get to walk and progress every single day. I get to have an achievement. I get to have wins. I get to make an impact, and I have a certain set of things that are lined up for me, right? That I'm consciously processing on a regular basis, and at the end of the day, like, I feel like I'm running in my lane and I feel in my space, even without the outside noise going on. It's something that gives me that sense of empowerment. You know what? At the end of the day, I'm still moving. Yeah, I'm moving along with the people that I want to move with, and it's fucking awesome.
Absolutely, and the personal power comes from that, because when you define what the goal line is, the finish line, and you're doing it, the entire process for your own reasons, that's called true choice. Yeah. And that's when your perfect self-expression can come out, like your latent, unique gifts and talents and qualities get to be experienced by you. And that's a significant difference between what's beneath that of playing not to lose. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're doing something, you can create good results with that state of beingness, playing not to lose, but it is a win-lose type situation dynamic that you're creating of, like, in order for me to win, you have to lose. And it's not my true choice. I'm doing it so that I don't lose, so I can be a winner, because I'm trying to fill some void. So when you're doing something for you and your own reasons, like 100%, I mean, sincerely, that's when you get to be at your highest and best. It's authentic, it's raw, it's real, it's for you. And, like, if you're not doing that, what the hell are you doing? Like, because your family has expectations of you, or societal norms, or, like, you're not living your life then. You're living their life, or at least what you think it should be. And you can still create some results, but they're not going to be fulfilling, and you'll always feel this void inside.
Well, you can also get caught up in not playing life at all, right? Like,
not playing.
And we had a whole episode a while back on that. I thought that was a pretty good one.
You mean like the hecklers in the stands that aren't on the field playing?
Yeah, exactly. And
hey, I like them though, And
it's good background music sometimes.
Yeah, totally. Well, and if you don't have any haters, like, no one knows of you.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. You're not doing enough.
Yeah, no, seriously. Because if you're not putting yourself out there,
I can't say I have a lot of haters, or at least they're not. Watch me get a whole bunch of comments.
I hope you do.
I fucking hate you. Wow, you're my friend.
No, dude.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Listen, I think if you want trophies, it's number of haters. Each one's a trophy.
Each one is a trophy.
It means you're making progress. It means you're disrupting the norm. It's you're creating waves. You're a disruption in somebody else's flawed, biased lens. But
I mean, I think instead of a disruption, I like to plant seeds of awareness, and that's a whole different approach to possibly the same thing. It's just a different way of thinking, right? Like it's not coming from an antagonist, standpoint.
That's never my intent.
But it's. I mean, I feel like I don't know. Like if you get some critical thinking cues, at least when I present stuff from my own experience, it's like, oh shit, okay, that might make a little sense, and you still get your point across. So.
Well, here's my fundamental belief is that each and every single one of us is unique in our own way.
Yeah.
I mean, we're more alike than we are disliked,
yeah.
Yet we're still very unique, and we have a unique talent, a unique ability, and a unique way of expressing that. And so if you're not doing that, then you're not differentiating yourself. Hence, you blend in with the crowd, and nobody can hate you because you're the same.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So if you're creating haters, that's static because you're running your race. Along the way, there's going to be someone that doesn't like what you're doing for whatever reason.
Yeah, but what happens when you run your lane? It doesn't even matter.
Well, to me, it doesn't.
No. So if I'm focused in my lane, is and don't get me wrong. I've had people who don't like the way that I don't know that I post something.
Yeah, judgments.
Or this is a stupid point of view. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
it's still my point of view. I'm telling. That's what I'm talking about when you get clear on that race that you're running and that personal power that comes along with it.
It's like what I've noticed is when you're running your own race for your own reasons, true choice.
Yeah,
man, it's like everything you do is it's just for you and the opinion and judgment you have on yourself, which turns beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
It becomes so loud that you can't hear the outside external opinions and judgments because you don't care. You're so excited about you and where you're going and why you're going there. And I'll tell you what, that's attractive energy that enrolls contributions and support and collaboration.
Yeah, I feel like you take away the stopping power of all that stuff.
Yeah, there's no brakes.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of times, maybe a critic is gonna force you to slow down. Or, oh my God, it looks stupid. I'm getting this is silly. I have to be the strongest, most confident voice in the room. And the reality of life is no, we have ups and downs. We have fallacies that
peaks and valleys.
Exactly. That we deal with on a regular basis. And and I think understanding that, right, getting clear about what kind of life, what kind of game are you playing in life, what kind of race are you running, and making sure that that's your race is key. It's key to getting anywhere, right?
So how do we know if we're playing our own?
I'll tap into that right now, but. I keep, for example, this whole weekend, right? We were following our boy Quito through GPS. So the entire time, we're going to different places of the course, and I mean it's 500 miles. So you're driving a whole lot of distance, right? To just see him fly by and all that stuff, but you're doing. I mean, it makes me think, right? You need people on your corner as you go through life.
Yeah.
Oh shit, you have your power team with you. You have the people that are going to support you. You have some people in there that are just going to be noise and distraction, but you have some people that are truly vested in seeing you win, and it's they're there for you. It's man, that's a perfect example. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going in there, and then you're seeing all the obstacles. I'm putting myself in his helmet, and I'm seeing the obstacles. I'm seeing man, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm beat. I've been on the bike for 18 hours, 19 hours. That's 10 years into entrepreneurship, maybe less. It's you're tired, you're beat, you have failures, you're hungry, nobody's feeding you.
You want to break?
Yeah, you want to break, and you can't. You want to take a nap. Why am I doing this? All that kind of stuff happens, but it's a lot of tenacity, right, that plays into it. But when you have that that point of reference, it's man, I'm gonna get to this point. And this is the race that I'm following. I'm racing against me. You can see people go by. You can see the other trucks, right? For example, you're not going to compare a dirt bike with a trophy truck. on a course like that. On a course like that. I mean, it's not gonna, the trophy truck is gonna fly by.
But people compare themselves to other people.
Yeah,
it's not
equal.
equal.
And then that or experience. Like there's guys that have been racing since they were like 6 years old, and their race, like they're much further ahead in their own race than somebody who's like, this is the second race that he does. Like he did a 250, which was pretty impressive, and then did 500 a month later. So you have that level of experience, and he still crushed it. Like he finished the whole thing, did good, but you have that, right? And then you have like the guys who have been running it for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Like they know all the exactly. They're like, it's just different. It's a different, level of experience.
It's a different race.
It's a different race, and they're just in a different stage, right? So I feel like when we take that, and I'm going deep on that analogy there, because I feel like a lot of it lines up exactly to the kind of stuff that we do as entrepreneurs.
100%.
And you got to have like the people around you when it gets. I mean, they were seeing when they took off in the morning. They took off at 2 a.m. When they took off, it was cold weather. Super cold. I mean, these guys were jackets and all that stuff. And then you were hitting 100 degrees towards the middle of the day, right? So you have like
contrast.
variation. Yeah, it's a big contrast. It's very challenging, and also, I mean, we're seeing the same stuff. Sometimes, okay, I mean, we're coasting through things. I mean, if you think a couple of years back, even in our like in the investor space, like the wholesaling space, we were living the glory days of wholesaling. Like you could not sell a deal, and so that's like coasting on the breeze by the beach, and nice paved road, and then boom, you're getting to the bumpy areas of like
dirt
oh shit.
path.
yeah exactly, legislation, regulation.
Yep.
Oh, we're canceling this, we're canceling that, and so you start to see the noise of life, right? Again, if you're in your own lane, you focus on your path. You focus on how am I going to get over this next challenge, as opposed to like, oh shit, that person is passing me. Now you're distracted with that person
Focused
that's
on the
passing
wrong
you,
shit.
and then you slam your head against that hill that's right in front of you because you didn't pay attention to the other stuff.
And that's necessary. That's part of the race, right? It's like because that's what develops you. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
That's how you learn to lean on your team and all those things. Because you're gonna get a flat tire. You're gonna crash and burn. Like things are gonna happen. And instead of focusing on who's passing you when that happens, which there's no value in that, like, yeah, man. I love the analogy because it directly parallels.
Yeah, I think so. Again, like it made me, on the way back, I had, I was driving for hours and I was just kind of mulling stuff over and finding similarities between the two, right? And then I ended up having a conversation with one of my best friends, Bobby, his brother, and like the same thing just kind of popped up. The same, avenue and conversation came up, and we're talking about the mindset of it. I was like, yeah, this is coming up way too often. Sometimes the message just it feels right? So if you're out there and you're thinking, you're getting overwhelmed, and you're getting with let's say clustered with not knowing exactly what you're doing, or you feel like you're running somebody else's race, reflect on that kind of stuff, because 3 years can go by, 5 years can go by, and then next thing you know, it's like, shit, I got to start my race 5 years later.
Oh yeah, I haven't even crossed the start line.
Yeah, and understanding what that is, right? If your intention is to to be part of a company, part of a whatever, right, and be part of a team, that's great. Just make that be your race. Be comfortable with that kind of stuff, right? The worst thing I feel is to go through life and spend years putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into something that it's not necessarily doesn't feed the soul. It's not a calling. It's not yours. Yeah, exactly. So think about that. I mean, give that some thought if you're listening to this podcast, because you are an entrepreneur, and it's one of those, I feel like, important concepts that we need to understand. The earlier that we understand them, the easier life gets, I feel. Running our own race is important. How do we know we're running our own race? Ask yourself the question, what do you want in life, right? Who do you want to live life or ride life with? What kind of people are you bringing into your team? What kind of goals are you setting for your business? How are you all going about, what's more important? Is it, the revenue and the dollar, or the culture and the people, right? Mm-hmm. And start making your choices based off of that. What's your lane? If a shiny object comes over and it looks like a spectacular opportunity, what are you gonna do to keep running your race. Even if you pay attention to that kind of stuff, you can't get distracted and pay attention to something else that looks shiny, right? And then forget about your race, because then you lost 6 months, you lost a year. You're gonna have to come back, rebuild, regroup, and do all that stuff. And you chose it, yeah. So whatever you're doing, just keep that in mind, right? Like we have the opportunity to run our own race, build our own path, and create that life that we're aiming for and striving for, right? Everything else we can bolt on to it, which is perfectly fine, but don't let go of that vision. Don't let go of that focus, and understand that race is your only race. You're only racing against yourself. You're pushing yourself through your own limits. You're pushing yourself through your own doubts. You're pushing yourself through your own accomplishments and anything bigger you've done, or anything that you've done in the past, right? That's what we're running for. At the end of the day, you're winning that race because it's your race. It's you. That's self-empowerment, if you ask me.
Yeah, man. I think my summary on that is basically how to win the race is really to define what's the end goal, which, by the way, before you get there, you'll be resetting that to go for something else, right? Like entrepreneurship, life, a race, whatever it is. Like, it's a marathon, not a short sprint. You know what I mean? Right. When you get ready to cross that finish line, take a swig of Gatorade, pick up your skirt, and keep going, because there's another finish line. But anyways.
What would you... Never mind.
It was, for you to comment on. So, and it worked. Yeah. So I left you speechless, actually. Look at that.
No, not
that's
really.
Surprising.
I mean, at this point, I don't judge. If you want to wear a skirt and drink a Gatorade.
I meant pick up your skirt is what I said. Yeah. So, but anyways, that finish line, like your vision, what's your race? What's your pace? Are you enjoying the process? Is this my true choice? Is this what truly I want? What do I think I'm going to get from passing that finish line? And you know what? When you have a vision and it's really fucking big, that's enrolling, man. Like, people want to be a part of that. They want to support, because sometimes people are just supporters, right? So if you don't have a team that you can lean on, supporters, maybe it's your vision's not big enough. Your race isn't that much. It's not grand enough, and there's so much available because you get to decide. True choice. So think big, go big, and have fun along the way, because if you're not having fun, you misread the instructions.
100%, man. Run your race. Run your race. Nobody else's race. All right. Justin, with that, where can somebody get a hold of you? Yeah,
everywhere on social media, YouTube at Mindset Coach JT, or my cell, 602-348-8534.
Fire. Fam, I hope you liked that episode. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please make sure you do subscribe, like, and share. Send this out to somebody who you think might benefit from listening to our crazy segments here. But profound. Crazy but profound.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you guys on the next one. This is a two-way conversation. Remember, drop your comments. And until then, stay focused. You got this. Let's go.